Hello, I'm Ralph Roberts here in Alexander, North Carolina, high up in the Blue Ridge Mountains in the Great Smoky Mountains of Western North Carolina. We call it the land of the sky. Actually, to be more precise, I'm located about 5 miles outside of Asheville, the parish of the South, they call it. Out here in the county, we call it a lot of other things besides the parish of the South, but y'all, it's a nice place to visit. Y'all come bring your tourist dollars here. Okay, let's get on with it. I got an email last week from YouTube which said that they were going from 10 to 15 minutes, raising the maximum time of videos allowed to 15 minutes, and that they invited us to do a video and put it on at the 15-minute length. They referred to as your 15 minutes of fame, which is the old Andy Warhol quote that everyone has 15 minutes of fame. I've had a few minutes of that already. I might get a few more. I doubt this video will do it, but hey, it's worth a shot, right? Okay, now I don't want to just sit and talk for 15 minutes, although I shouldn't have any problem doing that. As a matter of fact, let me get this out of the way first. 15 minutes don't impress me. 10 minutes was ridiculous. I want video that is a lot longer than that. I want the ability to put on an hour video show if I want to, and I have quite a few. In fact, I've produced hundreds of hours of videos over the years, and I've got over 100 DVDs for sale on Amazon. Feel free to buy them. And so I don't have any trouble producing videos longer than 15 minutes. Now Google, who are the owners of YouTube, they bought it several years ago. They originally had Google Video, and still do actually. I've got, for example, I did a local TV show called Ralph's Stuff, which is all 50 episodes are on Google Video. 30-minute episodes, you can go and watch them and enjoy them. So 15 minutes is not a lot. However, we will be gracious and say thank you and take advantage of it and put on this 15-minute video. Now what I want to do is do a straight 15-minute video without any editing. In other words, I'll just sit here and talk for 15 minutes. And I got my watch handy now where I can see how much I've talked. I've talked, gee, almost 3 minutes already, according to that, if I'm reading it right. So, well, that's, no, I got plenty more to talk about. But rather than just talking to be talking, what I'd like to do is give you some sort of information that might be worthwhile. And as a matter of fact, I'd like to talk about, since we're using the medium, video. As I said, I've done a lot of production in my time, so I know a little bit about the requirements of video, and I'm also an author. I've written over 100 books over the past 30 years, and several thousand articles and short stories and so forth. So I know a little bit about content. And let me explain to you what makes a good video. There's three things, three basics. You learn these basics and you can produce some mighty fine video without too much effort. And as a matter of fact, these three basics have been used in every single film, every single video ever filmed from the 1890s when they first started doing movies up until the far future. And those three basics are, no big secret, light, sound, content, LSC. So let's start talking about them, going from the least important to the most important. The least important, believe it or not, is light. Now, light to a camera is important. Cameras see the world differently than we do through, excuse me. It's what you get when you can't edit stuff out. You get a cough. Again, excuse me. But cameras, to get back on track, cameras see things differently than we do with our eyes. Cameras see the world in a lot greater shades of contrast than we do. Consequently, a camera needs a lot of light to really get a good picture. For example, in my in my case, I have a couple of Lowell lights. Lowell is just a brand of lights. I have a 1,000-watt halogen and a 500-watt halogen. It lights me up pretty well. I also have a 150-watt incandescent light on the green screen behind me. Now you may not know there's a green screen there because I put a background just to jazz up the this video a little bit and make it look a bit more professional. So yeah, I've talked another minute, haven't I? No, it's a little bit longer than that. I need to quit looking at the watch so much, right? Okay, so that's light. Light stuff good. Even if you're shooting out in the sunlight, you'd say, hey, I'm out in the sun, I don't need lighting. But you do. Remember, the camera sees things at a lot greater degree of contrast. So if you're standing in the shadow, or your face, or you're standing with your back to the sun, you gotta light up. You gotta light up your face so people can actually see your features. That little bit of shadow that might be on your face at the our eyes hardly even notice. It's just darkness to the camera. So learn a little bit about lighting and light things up, and your video will look a lot better. Next, let's talk about sound. All those within the sound of my voice will learn about sound now. Sound, as the old cliche goes, is 70% of your video. I say that again. That's good. Sound is 70% of your video. Now what that means is you can have a poorly lit video, your face can be in shadow, and people will think, hey, that's artistic, if there is good sound. If there's good sound, then people know what you're saying, they get the content, and you get away with the bad lighting. Better not to have bad lighting, but excuse me again, sometimes you can't help it. So, okay, that's light and sound. Now, content. You can get away with bad lighting and bad sound if you got riveting content. If you don't have riveting content, try dancing girls in the background. That helps, I guess, and something to get people's attention. And of course, I'm doing what you shouldn't do. And in fact, I shouldn't do. I'm just sitting here talking. Really, if you're going to put a video on, it's always good to have a script. Write it out beforehand, and that way you have a greater density of information than just ad-libbing off the top of your head. Of course, I've got a pretty good top of my head, so I can ad-lib pretty good. But seriously, what I mean by density of information is you have more facts, you don't forget them, you put them out in the right order, you have an entirely logical, you don't have to look for, search around for the word either, a logical presentation. Presentation is the word I was trying to think of, but I did think of it in time. Hey, about 7 minutes or so since I started. A little bit over 7 minutes, I think. Anyway, scripting is not all that hard. Now, I've been writing for a lot of years, so it's pretty easy for me, and I really should have written this script. Even if you just sit here and hold a piece of paper and read it, you're a lot better off than trying to think of it off the top of your head. Now, I'm do as I say, not as I do. So, write it down. Now, should you want to write it down, and I hope you take that suggestion, I've got a good one for you. You can do it on a word processor, but if you want to get in the right format, and there's reasons for the way scripts are formatted, various types of scripts, whether you're doing a audio-visual presentation or doing a feature movie, they have different formats. But they've been developed over the years because of what works best in that particular format. I'd be better off using an audio-visual format, but forget about formats. And in fact, you should be able to forget about formats when you're writing. In other words, you need, instead of a word processor, use a screenplay writing program, screenplay software. There are a lot of good ones out there. Final Draft, Movie Magic, at several $100s each. You may not want to spend that much. How about for free? One of the best screenplay or scripting programs I've come across is called Celtx, and that's spelled C-E-L-T-X. It's pronounced like a K, Celtx. And it's actually more than just a scripting program. You can do projects. You can do, looking for a word again. You wouldn't have to do that if you had a script. You can do schedules in it of your projects. I just got ahead of myself on the words in my mental script that's rolling in front of my eyes as I talk. Anyway. And it'll do scheduling. It has calendars in it. You can do storyboards, so you can graphically visualize the project before you actually get down to filming. That saves a lot of time and money. So I highly recommend Celtx. You can get it for free. Can you afford that? If you can't, I'll lend it to you. You can get it for free at Celtx.com, C-E-L-T-X, Celtx.com. And a lot of good information on the site there on how to use it. But if you have problems and you need a little bit more help or anything, I just happen to be writing a book called Celtx Beginner's Guide. So a shout out to me. I'll be published by Packet Books very soon, we hope. Coming along very nicely. That's one thing I've done over the years, by the way, is written a whole lot of computer books, around 100 actually. I know a little bit about writing and explaining things. And you need to have it on paper. Even movies need to be on paper first. And I also write feature movie scripts, so I know a little bit about that also. And if you'd like to know a little bit about it, in the Celtx Beginner's Guide, I also give you not only how Celtx works, but how to use it to write movies to try to sell to Hollywood and so forth. So, to review: light, sound, content, LSC. Do LSC and you won't have any trouble. Now I'm going to have to think of something else to talk because I got about 4 or 5 minutes left here in this great 15-minute extravaganza for YouTube. Now, I like YouTube, really. I actually do. If I think of something, I was reading about the Cook Islands the other day, and I've never been to the Cook Islands. I'd like to go sometime. But you do a search on YouTube and bingo, there's a whole bunch of short videos about the Cook Islands. I wish there were some 30-minute travel logs, but no, that's you can get all kinds of short stuff. There's musical, all sorts of music, all sorts of music videos, all sorts of information on things you might be interested in, tutorials. I do a lot of animation and Lightwave and special effects and Adobe After Effects and so forth, and I find lots of interesting little tutorials on YouTube that help me learn different things. All sorts of aspects of doing video, find out on YouTube. There's examples of bad video and good video. This particular video is an example of a bad video and a good video. I didn't write the thing, I should have, but I've sat here for 15 minutes almost, and I've talked, and those of you who are still here, I appreciate you going with me this far. It was fun, wasn't it? It was. I enjoyed it, just sitting here and talking and relaxed, and hopefully doing a little good by getting out some information that might make you think about how to do a better video. And video is the coming thing now. We're communicating a lot more visually now than we did in the past. In the past, it was all the written word on paper. Now hardly anyone reads anymore, so That's why I've gotten into video instead of writing quite as much as I used to. If you can't beat them, join them.